In this assignment, you're going to learn how to make materials that have textures. So previously we learned how materials work and how you can make them look more metallic or more like plastic. Um, these will allow you to make other kinds of surfaces like stone or brick or wood or cloth. So after downloading this project file, you're going to make your way to polyhaven.com and there's a link on Canvas for it. And you're going to go find some materials that you think would work well for this scene. So I'm going to go ahead and do a brick texture and I'll download it. And you'll notice that the download has a zipper file. So this is a zipped file, meaning it's compressed. This has to be extracted before we can use it. So we're going to click on Extract All when you open it, and then Extract. And now we have access to those files. So we have the worn brick in a folder that's not compressed. So now back to Blender. Let's open up this folder. Just going to put it to the side here. Click on shading at the top. We're going to add in a new material and pick what we want to have that material on. And we're going to click new. So this is like the material tab here, but we have nodes. So these are the same options as we have over here, but we have these nodes that allow us to plug things into them. So if we look at our images, so we'll go to textures and we have a worn brick floor diff. That's short for diffuse. That's our color. Our base color gets plugged in with that. So we can see that our diffuse color is right there. But right now, it still doesn't look like brick. It just looks like it might be a brick print. So we're going to add in our other images. Let's do the normal one. So worn brick floor normal. And what that is an image that changes the way the texture reacts to light. So I would plug this into normal, but it doesn't work like that. Right now it's not working. We need another node in between here. So you're going to click add and then vector, and we want normal map. Okay. And once you plug that in, you can see that we have this kind of bumpy texture. Now it's looking more like real brick. There's one more texture that we're going to use. So the one that says disp, that's short for displace. And we're not going to displace anything right now, so we're not going to use it, but we are going to use the roughness. And the roughness will plug into the roughness here so we can control how reflective something is. So like if I set this to 0, now it looks like I have like wet brick. If I set this to 1, you can't really see any detail on it. So by plugging in this, we can get variation so that some areas are maybe a little more shiny than others. Let's go into rendered view and you can kind of see this will control the light. And you can control the strength of the normal map if you need it to have a little more detail in it or a little less. Now, one thing that we can't do in this current layout is control the size or position of this texture. So there are two nodes that we will need, and I want you to put them in your quick favorites, and I'll show you how to do that. Go to add and then input, and we need texture coordinate. Now to put it in quick favorites, you're going to right click, add to quick favorites. So now in here, if I press Q, it opens up the quick favorites and I can add the texture coordinate. We're also going to add in a vector and then mapping. Right click and add that to quick favorites. These are two that we will use all the time. So now I can connect UV or generated into vector in the mapping node, and then I will connect vector to vector on all of these images. Now I can change the scale of the different sections or the XYZ coordinates. So if I change that, Holding shift will make it go slower. If I want to change all three of these at the same time, you just click and hold and drag down, and then you can change the size of the bricks. If I do negative scale, it's going to invert the normal map. I can also change the rotation. And I can change the location of the bricks. So you'll do this with every material. Fill up the whole scene with different materials that make sense for the scene.